Hey there, folks. Welcome back to another episode of 8-Star Anime, and I'm sure as you've noticed, this is not the 8-Star Studio.
Yeah, you probably also noticed that the guy from Denzicaster's here again, for some reason.
Some reason you say. Are you sure? It's not.
It's because we're talking about giant robots again.
Yes.
That's why I'm here. Giant robots and Godzilla, and I'll show up on 8-Star Anime. That's the way this works. So,
Exactly. Well, we decided to dive into a series of Gundam that I personally enjoyed, and probably most people probably started with here in the States.
I pride myself a little bit on being our resident Gundam expert, because I've, at least for Gundam before Seed.
Yeah.
Gundam Wing was, for most Americans, and probably most Canadians too, I don't know so much about Mexico, but for most of the US and Canada, that was the gateway show into Gundam. Gundam had been around in the United States through an old VHS imprint of Bandai called Anime Village.
Gotcha.
And they had released the original Gundam movie trilogy, 0080 War in the Pocket, and 0083 Stardust Memory on VHS. Either you could buy it either subtitled or dubbed. But they really kind of stopped after just that. Gundam Wing was hugely popular back in the late 90s among the fan sub community. I remember the very first time I ever saw Gundam Wing was over at a friend's house. She used to host anime nights, and she was a fan sub distributor.
Gotcha.
So back when fan subs were not torrents you downloaded, back when it was tape trading and such.
Yep.
As I show my age. But there are people out there watching this going, what the hell is a VHS? But regardless, Gundam Wing became the gateway thanks to Cartoon Network and Toonami. Mm-hmm. It was the first Gundam Wing series ever aired in the first Gundam television show ever aired in the United States. It's the first Gundam television series ever released on home media in the United States. And Endless Waltz is depending on how you watch it, either the movie or 3-part OVA.
They were both presented in both ways on television at one point. First the OVAs, and later on they just presented it as the movie down the road.
There's realistically no difference between the two.
No.
If you watch the movie, the only thing they really do is they cut out the beginning and ending credits of some of the episodes, and they take out some of the narration previously on Gundam Wing kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's about it. You're not really missing anything. If you watch it as episodes, that was the way it aired on television, and that's the way it was originally released. So they include that on the old DVD, and I assume, I don't have the Blu-ray from Right Stuff, but I would assume that the Right Stuff Blu-ray does the same.
So, yeah, because I know the VHS presented it as the 3-part.
Yeah, the VHS, you either got the 3-part OVAs or you got the movie. You didn't get both.
You got both. So I fortunately got the movie version when they released that, so which I still have. just sitting there collecting dust because I don't really have anymore to really play any of this.
Well, an ironic twist of fate, it's something Gundam on this show that I didn't pick, so I guess that means you're doing the synopsis.
Fair enough. Let's see if I can do the best thing I can. So this movie, or OVA, whatever you want to call it, takes place a year after Colony 195. Or
the year is after Colony 196. I love the dramatic.
Yeah, I know. The narration's so great on that.
It is. It really is.
And so now it's once again Christmas time, and peace has, enveloped Earth and the Allied colonies, and everything's running fine. All the old Gundam pilots have gone to, for the most part, their normal lives to the best of their abilities. Well, except for Hero, who always seems to find a way to work. But in any case, everything runs fine until the Princess Relena ends up getting kidnapped by a new colony that has shown up, declaring they want to be the dominant force, and decide to declare war again.
Yeah, and by the time this series takes place, she has actually abdicated being the queen, and so now she is the I think it's vice foreign minister. It's actually the same position her father holds at the beginning of the television series, and she has also ditched the Peacecraft name. She's assumed her adopted last name, and so she's foreign minister Relena Dorland.
Dorland, that's what it is. I couldn't remember the last name. I was losing it. And upon the announcement of the declaration of war by who we learned to be the daughter of Tres Cucinatra, Marimea, who has just suddenly, hey, I'm here. We're coming to take over. And at that point, our Gundam pilots feel they need to do something about it. However, do not have the means to fight.
Yeah, actually, the beginning of the show, or beginning of the movie, has them putting the Gundams on a waste disposal asteroid and sending it towards the sun to destroy them, which seems overly complicated. Actually, when you watch the movie the whole way through,
if you've seen the series, you know it's overcomplicated.
It's just terribly why. But anyway,
in any case, I don't know the best way to really say this.
So the long story short is,
thank you.
Marimea Cucinata is a puppet of a guy named Duncan Barton, who is the original mastermind of Operation Meteor. We find out what Operation Meteor from the television series was supposed to be, which, if you are a longtime fan of Gundam, will sound terribly familiar to you, but the original Operation Meteor was a colony drop. They were going to drop a colony on Earth and then follow behind after the devastation and take over the planet. That's the original Operation Meteor. Through flashbacks that actually take place before the television series, which not only provide a little bit of origin for our characters, but also shows us the initial planning of Operation Meteor, we find out that Operation Meteor was basically changed by the scientists who created the Gundams. So
none of them actually cared for the original plan of the project for one reason or another.
The exception being the real Troa Barton.
Yes.
We finally get to see the real Troa Barton because we learned during the television. Spoilers for a show that's 20 years old.
I know, right?
So you find out that in the television series that Troa Barton is not Troa Barton. He is taken that name. Here we meet the real Troa Barton for the first time, and he is fully in favor, but then again, his dad's the one who came up with the plan. And he basically gets killed, and that is when our no-name soldier, who has been in plenty of wars and is actually a mechanic on the Gundam Heavy Arms, says, well, I'll be Troa Barton, and I'm not going to take over Earth. I don't want to take over Earth. I have no point in that. And then they say, well, fine. Well, you're now in charge of Operation Meteor. Congratulations.
Yep.
And that's pretty much the way it goes. So everything goes down. The Gundam pilots reunite.
But instead of fighting for killing, they want to try to make peace in the best way possible by taking out the machinery, not the people.
Right. They are fighting a non-lethal battle, essentially. They are trying to disable all of the enemy mobile suits, but not necessarily kill their pilots, which is a very distinct reversal from the way the characters were in the television series.
So, up until a point where it looks like Marimea and Dakin are finally getting what they want because the Gundam pilots are now exhausted of their resources.
Right.
Through their Gundam, fuel's running out, things are getting beat up, out of ammo,
right.
They're beat up. They're like, what do we do? Finally, our last ditch effort, we see there was a couple of ditch efforts, realistically. One being Hero kind of showing Marimea, the fear of war.
Yes.
And very successfully, mind you, before he ends up destroying his own Gundam.
In the process
of destroying his own Gundam. The other part is watching the civilians finally learn that peace is not just given.
Yeah.
They have to go out and want freedom. They have to want peace. They have to want this with their own hands. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to have a weapon in your hand to get it.
Right.
So on two fronts, you have Hero going up to the main enemy and saying, "Hey, this is really what war is about. This is what happens in war. This is not what you want." And then the people are like, this is definitely not what we want. Back off. Get out of your gun. Get out of your mobile suits. Stop.
Right.
And so, there are a few casualties, obviously, but by the end of it, peace has been realized without killing, and another full-blown war.
Right.
And so, at the end of it, our Gundam pilots, excuse me, sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay, our Gundam pilots have decided, okay, we finally achieved war. We don't need our mobile suits anymore. We're blowing them up. Boom, which is oddly what they really should have done at the beginning.
None of this sending them into the sun bullshit.
Yeah, I never understood that. So they finally blow them up. Then they're like, well, I guess we'll just go back to what we used to do before.
Well, I take that back. I guess there is a rationale for sending them into the sun, and that's because Hero does self-destruct the Wing Gundam during the television series, and they're able to rebuild it.
Yeah.
So maybe that's it. It's if we send them into the sun, no one can rebuild the damn things.
Which is fair, I guess.
But in this case, they blew them up going, we didn't think we were going to need them last time.
Yeah. So, you have that. You have other characters that do ride off in the sunset. Relina's taking her position in a different light than she did before. Realize, because she realizes, crap. If they want peace, we're really going to have to fight for it and keep it.
There's the phrase, total pacifism is a real big thing in the television series. And here, it's like, well, you know what? I'm not a peacecraft anymore because I realize that's not going to work. Katra goes off with the Magwanaut Corps and starts a construction business.
Mm-hmm.
I think Troa goes back to the circus. I want to say Duo Maxwell goes into business with his girlfriend, who we met in the series and whose name I don't remember because they'd be damned if they were going to mention it here.
I know, right?
I don't know what... Wu Fei becomes one of the preventers.
Yes.
And then Hero basically just walks off into the sunset and into anonymity. If I'm not mistaken, you actually see him in Shibuya Crossing.
Yeah.
At the end of the series.
You just kind of you just see him,
he's done and he blends in.
Blends in with the crowd and that's it. And of course, Zex and Mai, they're just like, well, you know what, hey. Yeah.
Zex and Noin and Sally Poe and Lady make up the preventers, along now with Wu Fei.
And which I like, because it's just like, yep, this is really what we wanted. This is what we're going to get.
By the way, if you notice, Wu Fei's Gundam's the one that didn't get self-destructed at the end. But then again, he's one of the preventers, so...
Well, to be honest, he's one of the people that didn't hand over his Gundam.
He also doesn't hand it off at the beginning, that's true.
But I always thought it was odd, because he's literally the only person that had the soldier's mentality, because he feels like, what is left for a soldier if he can't fight?
Yeah.
And I never understood that from him until most of this movie where he finally realizes, well, shoot.
I always looked at Wu Fei in the series as every one of the characters has an archetype they fit. Hero is the loner. Duo is the grifter. I mean, he's the sly, smooth talker kind of guy. Katra is the naive idealist. Troa is the man with no name in the style of Clint Eastwood, or even Sanjuro from the Yojimbo movies, which is where the Man with No Name was based off of. And then you have Wu Fei, who is the warrior, and in that very Asian template of the honorable warrior, justice and honor and Bushido and different codes and so on. And so I almost felt in this whole thing, he kind of played to that of almost the idea of the samurai at the tail end of their existence.
Yeah.
If we're not samurai, what are we?
What are we?
If I'm not a warrior, what am I? And as it turns out, if you're not a warrior, you're a peacemaker.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sort of his tale and his scope to the story. I don't know if you've had a chance to watch the two Gundam 0080 episodes, but I know that you it was me and Dave for most of them.
Yes.
One thing I said to Dave in those episodes, and it's something I love about Gundam in general. Gundam at its finest tells a very moral story, and it tells, in some way, shape, form, or fashion, it tells part of the story that Yoshiyuki Tomino, the original creator of Gundam, intended, which is war is hell.
Yeah.
His whole thing was he didn't want to glamorize it, he didn't want to make it seem like something to be celebrated. Here, in Gundam Wing, to be honest, they don't really tell that story specifically. But the story they do tell is just as poignant, which is peace isn't free. You have to fight for peace. You have to fight for freedom. If you're not willing to stand for it, then you're never going to have it. And that was the moral of the story, and they really harped on it here in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
So the movie does it amazingly well. I've often joked that someone asked me, what do you think of Gundam 00? I said, well, it's Gundam Wing, but it's done better.
Actually, yeah, it is.
But this movie is... It is the last bit of Gundam Wing. There's never been a televised... whether it's animation, whether it's a TV series, an OVA, nothing. There has been no video version of Gundam Wing past this. There have been a couple of mangas. But there's been no actual entry into the Gundam video franchise after Gundam Wing for the After Colony timeline. And that's frankly because there doesn't need to be. This movie / OVA does such a tremendous job of actually serving as this is the finale. This is the end of the Gundam Wing story. And that is something that, frankly, not a lot of sequel OVAs and movies do very well.
No.
Most of them do not serve as the cherry on top, the last bit of sprinkles on the sundae. Very few of them do that.
Evangelion tried, and look how they failed.
Well, or the one that actually comes to my mind because I'm in the minority that's... I thought Neon Genesis Evangelion was a wonderful show for 25 episodes, and then episode 26, they decided to let you know that it was terrible.
Terrible.
That's just me. That's my opinion. Bring the hate. So... y'all seem to hate me for liking Johnny Sacco, thinking I don't, for those people that watch Denzi Caster. But, no, I genuinely don't like Evangelion. But that aside, the one that leaps to my mind is Martian successor Nadesco had a follow-up movie, Prince of Darkness, which did nothing to wrap up the series. If anything, it actually felt like it was setting the plate for more. So... this does a wonderful job, though, of truly wrapping up Gundam Wing.
So, we're done. We told our story. Let's move on to the next series.
Yes.
So,
I understand there's a rating system on this show. I'm
Yes.
about getting used to it.
Are you?
Yeah. It's my 4th time on the show, folks. I don't know.
I'll say you could try. So, once again, we're going to do things in 2 categories. Tangibles and intangibles of such sort. Mainly... we'll start with, our sound, our audio, the visuals, stuff like that. To be honest, I know the series is old, but then again, because it would have been, like 2000.
No.
I know the series itself came out in the 90s, but I know we didn't get it until...
God bless old school frickin' Bandai packaging for not putting dates on things.
Good Lord. That's why we got phones.
Anyway.
I'll look that up, but I want your thoughts on...
on the tangibles?
Yes.
I give it a 3. And I give it a 3 for a few reasons. Number one, I love hand-drawn animation. This does a wonderful job of that. I love most of the mecha designs. There are some...
You were telling me about that when I was watching the movie.
Wing Zero is garbage in this movie. I do not like Wing Zero Custom.
No.
With the individual main mobile suits, so our hero mobile suits, they don't change the Taurus really at all, which I appreciated. Most of the stock mobile suits, they don't really change the designs of that much. But with the Gundams themselves, they take some heavy, heavy liberties. Every single Gundam has a new design. At the very least, with Tallgeese, they do make the note that it's the third Tallgeese, so therefore it's actually just a brand new suit. It's not a new design. But I do like the fact that it being Zex Murkiza's suits, or in this one, he is Preventer Wind. I like the fact that the suit is really a combination of Tallgeese and Epion. So it combines his two signature suits from the television series, which I think is pretty cool. But I think all of the mobile suits here, which are supposed to be, for what it's worth, the mobile suits from the end of the television series. So it's supposed to be Heavy Arms Kai, the rebuilt version of Heavy Arms. It's supposed to be Sandrock Kai. It is supposed to be the Ultron Gundam. It is supposed to be Death Scythe Hell and Wing Zero. And of all of those suits on the TV show, really the only ones that got new looks were Death Scythe Hell, Ultron, and Zero. I did not like the way Death Scythe Hell looked on the television show. I love the movie version. The Endless Waltz version of Death Scythe Hell is gorgeous. It's probably my favorite mobile suit from the movie. Sandrock looks so much better in the movie. Heavy Arms really is still Heavy Arms. It's just a different paint job.
I mean, Heavy Arms, he has the 4 Gatling guns. I mean,
Yeah.
he went from red to blue.
Yeah.
I mean, for the most part.
Yeah. The Ultron has a new look. It was never my favorite Gundam anyway, but I like the upgraded look. Wing Zero has angel wings.
I never understood why they did that for
Which-
this thing.
I'm going to rehash something. I reviewed this anime years and years and years ago for a website that is no longer around. But I said it there and I'll say it here. The wings freaking flap. Why do the wings flap in space? There's no reason for them to do this in space.
Sure.
It's the Coco Beware Gundam.
That's fair.
But there's in universe they give a legitimate explanation. Do you know the actual explanation for the
I do
wings?
not.
Okay. In universe, the rationale for the wings is the tip of every feather on the wing is an attitude control thruster. So it allows it for incredibly accurate maneuverability. That's the in-universe explanation. Bullshit. Because it does not maneuver any better than any other mobile suit in the whole damn movie. If Ultron maneuvers as well as Wing Zero, and it does, then there's no reason for the wings to do this. It don't make no damn sense. But that
Other than, it just makes me wonder if they do the whole engine wing just because they try to make him look kind of like this glorious,
I will say,
especially towards the end where he kind of shows up and he's in the air ready to shoot the enemy base.
it is an incredible visual.
Yeah.
I will not take that away from it. It's an incredible visual. I think my hang up on it is it's an incredible visual as long as you don't call it a Gundam. I mean, I've said that about a lot of things. The 1998 American version of Godzilla.
Yeah.
It's a great monster movie as long as you don't call it Godzilla.
Okay.
As long as you call that damned iguana anything but Godzilla, it's a cool monster movie. I've said that about a couple of Kamen Rider shows. I thought that, it's a great show. I don't know why they called it Kamen Rider. But it's the same thing here. It's a great mecha. Why did they call it a Gundam? The other thing that I dock off the tangibles is a little bit of inconsistency in design. When they flash back to the end of the television series a couple of times,
Yeah.
it's the same mobile suits that we see in the movie with the same designs,
That was kind of weird.
with no explanation at all. You're just meant to assume that, no, what you saw in the TV show was really these suits.
Which makes no sense considering we know, if you've seen the television show, pretty much all these suits get beat up and blown up at some point in the series.
Yeah, so I would have appreciated just some. It could have been a throwaway line of, it sucks that we're sending these off to dispose them so soon after we rebuilt them, or something along those lines, just to give a rationale for the new designs. Instead, it's just new pretty for new pretty's sake. And last but not least, the last thing I kind of dock it for is the television series had incredible music. the theme songs, both of them, Just Communication and Rhythm of Motion. Yes, I actually know the titles of theme songs in anime. At least,
did I.
At least,
Thank you very much.
these anime.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, but it's just for those people out there who think he doesn't watch anime because he's the Toku guy. I don't watch new anime. But don't ask me a damn thing about One Piece. The music in the television show though was amazing. The two theme songs from the TV show were fantastic. The insert music, a lot of the battle music, interstitial stuff was very, very good. A lot of the instrumentals were very good. You got bored with them because there wasn't a lot of variety in the TV show. 50-something episodes, you were going to hear that music a lot. But the themes and whatnot were fantastic. The theme song for Endless Waltz is called White Reflection,
which I like personally.
But it doesn't measure up to either TV theme.
No.
I would have liked... the big hero, no pun intended, moment in the movie is when Hero jumps out of his ship and lands on the shuttle carrying his Gundam and gets into it and pilots it for the first time. We see Wing Zero unfurl its feathers, and that's your big, heroic moment. Like Superman pulls back the suit and you see the S, and they hit the music, and the music is White Reflection. I really wish in that moment it had been Just Communication. I really wish it had been the TV theme. But for whatever reason, I don't think there's any music from the television series in this at all.
No.
I wish they'd have brought back one or two. I mean, even if they had just used one theme song, and I could pick one, I don't care which, but to me, Just Communication was the better one. In part because I swear to this day that it has a Jonathan Frakes sample at the end of it. If you listen to the whole song, at the end of it you hear an English voice yelling Red Alert, and it sounds all the world like Jonathan Frakes from Star Trek as Commander Riker, Red Alert! So it is beautifully done, but I cannot in good conscience give it a 4 because of the inconsistencies, Wing Zero, and the fact that from a television series that had such incredible music, it doesn't translate over to the movie quite the same way. You can't knock the voice cast or anything like that because it's the same crew.
Yeah.
And they all do a tremendous job. So,
before I get to this, I do have to admit, giving it a 3 is about right where it needs to be.
Yeah. For
mostly the same reasons you did. I have no problem with Wing Zero per se.
You like Frankie the Gundam?
It's just that I never understood the reason. I just didn't understand the reason for giving him those style of wings. Because my favorite version is just the one that turned into the plane.
Yes.
So I like that version.
Which you lose that in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And the Wing Zero from the anime was the best looking mobile suit in the whole damn show. It was gorgeous.
And you never know. Now, I was a big fan of one of the regular suits, the Taurus, that
Knowing
ends up piloting.
And I love the fact that they kept it white.
Yes.
Because it was white in the television show.
Mm-hmm.
Hers was white.
White. I was like, I did like that suit. I've always liked that suit.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, I was the biggest fan of, I think it had to be the original Tall Geese 1.
Tall Geese 1's actually my favorite version of the Tall Geese with the solid white.
Yes.
But that's not why it's my favorite version. It's my favorite version because it has the Leo head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whereas all the rest of them have Gundam style heads. I love the fact that it has the same head styling as the Leos, because to me there's something about the badass enemy suit having the same head as not every other, but have the same styling as the other enemy suits.
Yes.
Where it has like the mono camera. It's just like in the original series. Char's mobile suits were usually just upgraded versions of some stock suit, but Char's final suit in the series, the Zeong, has the mono eye that all the other Zeon suits have. It wouldn't have been the same if it didn't. But
that's true. So there's that. So before we continue, I do have the actual dates for this one.
Okay.
So the original actual OVA series is in '97.
Mm-hmm.
Then you didn't get it in movie form until '98, a year later.
Yeah, by looks of things, more than a year later.
Yeah, just a little bit, not by much.
Yeah, July '97 is when the OVA wrapped up, and August '98 is when the movie came out. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So just before we hit our new millennium.
Yes.
So, which gives you an idea of where the animation stands.
Mm-hmm.
90s animation was very hit and miss in the anime world.
This one ages well.
Yes. So I picked this movie only for sheer fact that, yes, nostalgia purposes, it's the Gundam I grew up with. It's not like I didn't see the other ones, but this is the bread and butter for me.
Yeah.
So moving forward, we go into our storytelling, our actual overall enjoyment, in section of the voting. If I had to put it, I personally give it a 4. I love the storytelling. I love how they presented it. It's the continuation from the series that gives you a good wrap up, and you need no more after closing credits, music. You're good to go. If you're begging for more, you would be asking for trouble. There's a history even here in the States where a lot of series had a good story going. Looks like they're going to wrap it up around season 4, season 5. You're like, yeah, all right, good stuff. People want more, and that's when the show starts to...
And then it overstays its welcome.
Way too long. This right here did a fantastic job of giving you a true wrap-up to a fairly excellent story. And kept it, to me, true to its series.
Yeah.
And I realistically couldn't ask for more. I guess part of it is a bit of nostalgia for it, but the storyline holds up.
Yes, it does.
Tore up. Maybe a few plot holes here and there, but that's not something I kind of go, eh.
Yeah.
What's your take on it? Personally?
I probably give it a 3. Which, yeah, 3's good.
It is. Don't get me wrong. It is good.
I'd probably give it a 3. Let's see if I can talk myself up to something higher. One, it is an incredible wrap up to the series. It realistically, among the Gundam television series, Wing is actually not even in my top 5, and that's
fair.
And that's because Wing was a 52 episode series. It's a story told in 50 episodes. It could have been told in 20.
Fair.
It really, really drags. The series could have been half as long as it was, and been much better. So pacing is an issue. However, it's not an issue for the movie. Mm-hmm. And you could not have told the movie's story in the context of the television series because of the time jump. If you don't have that 1-year jump, this story doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. So it's a really good wrap-up. They had the good sense to leave it alone when they were done with it. You're absolutely right. A lot of stuff outstays its welcome really, really bad. And you wind up with the jump the shark moments. As much as I love the later seasons of Smallville because of some of the winks and nods to DC Comics history they work in, that show probably should have ended 3 seasons before it did. But, there are plenty of those. My wife, Kana, keeps talking about how she wishes they would bring back How I Met Your Mother. I'm like, but he met the damn mother. How do you do anything past that? So, and if you look at shows where they did it and tried to bring it back, J. Michael Straczynski's Babylon 5, he had a 5-year story. He told it in 5 seasons. Every time they tried to do something with it after that, it tanked. Mm-hmm. There's a reason, because he told his story, and that was the story he could tell in that universe. So, with that said, I really like that. I love the fact that they give you both before they became pilots in flashbacks that do not overstay their welcome, that organically fit into the story, and they give you montage style where the characters end up. So you see both ends of the spectrum in the movie. The flashbacks for before the series, you've hopefully already seen the series before seeing the movie, and then you see where they're going in the future, and I like that. I like that every one of the main characters ends up in a logical place.
Yes.
Chang and Zex could not possibly be anything other than pilots, the way their characters are portrayed and everything. But that's where they end up. They just end up being pilots with a different cause. Yes. You wind up with Duo, who winds up with his girl. You have Katra, who is still with his core, but Katra was always a builder in the series. He built the team and he built everyone else up around him, and now he's literally building. He's the foreman of a construction company. And Troa goes back to the circus. It's the only place he's ever truly belonged. So everyone winds up where they should be. So I like that. And I love the story that they told. The story here was a wonderful story with a good message, which I really enjoy. And to me, that's Gundam at its core. I make a lot of comparisons between Gundam and Star Trek because there's so many analogs between them that may not be apparent at first glance.
Yeah, sure.
But one thing that's there is Star Trek at its best has a message in it. Here, Gundam at its best, there is a message, and here the message is you have to stand up for what you believe in, and if you want peace, if you want freedom, you have to be willing to stand up for it. That doesn't mean you have to kill, it doesn't mean you have to fight, but it does mean you have to stand up and be heard.
Yes.
So, I love the message. Things I don't like. The inconsistencies in the designs from the movie to the flashbacks to the end of the television series is as much a storyline fault as it is an artwork fault. I really do not like the fact that a lot of the incidental characters that were very important to the television series, you get to see them, but that's all you get.
Yeah.
You get to see them, and what makes it even worse is some of the ones that actually get speaking parts, they don't identify them.
No.
For instance, when all the guys, towards the end of the series, or the end of the movie, when the civilians finally realize, we have to go fight, we have to do this, a girl comes up and goes, yeah, you really do. You need to do this. What kind of man are you? And she finishes Relina's speech without Relina being able to finish it herself. But they never tell you who that woman is. It's Dorothy from the television series, who was one of Relina's most hated rivals, most outspoken critics. But here, she's saying her part, which is you have to fight, and she's saying Relina's part, which is for what you want, for peace. If you want this, you have to do this. And they never tell you who she is. It's a conceit that hopefully you've already seen the TV show, so you know.
Yeah.
But when you make a movie or an OVA, to me, you can't make that conceit. Because for somebody, this is the first experience they ever have with Gundam Wing. And they're not going to know who the hell that character is.
No.
When they have the close-up on the circus folk in one of the holding cells, they're not going to know that those people have a connection to the story and a connection to Troa. Just off of seeing them, they're going to wonder, why did the camera stay on these two odd-looking jokers for so long? So, it's things like that kind of make me go, But, well,
I mean,
so I think
I can understand that, but when you're looking at an OVA series that's supposed to be realistically seen after the series, like but the idea behind it is you've already seen the series.
I think I've managed to talk myself up to 3.5. But I can't give it a 4 because there are legitimately some faults with the way the story is told. Not the story itself, just the way they tell it in certain areas. A little explanation for the redesigns would have been nice. Actually telling us who some of the characters were. And it wouldn't have been hard. Dorothy could have sat there. When she shows up and starts giving her speech, one of the people in the crowd could have went, and who the hell are you? And she could have said, I'm Dorothy, and I used to hate that chick. But you know what? She's right. And then go into the spiel and go to everybody and thing. Little bits like that. But, and the whole, let me send the mobile suit into the sun that has a button that can blow the damn thing up.
I do have the bit. The one part of the movie I never understood is like, we're going to send these into the sun.
Again, a single line of dialogue would have sufficed. why? And it would have been Duo would have been the one to deliver it.
Yeah.
So why are we sending these into the sun again when we got self-destruct devices on them? Because Duo, we don't want anyone to rebuild the Gundam technology. Done. Now you've got an explanation for it, and then you have Duo at the end. So why are we hitting the self-destruct button instead of sending it into the sun? Because one day we might need them again.
There you have it.
But yeah, I 3.5. So for me, it gets a 7.5. It's not the best, or excuse me, 6.5. It's not the best that Gundam has to offer, in my opinion, but it's really damn good. And if you can make it through the 50-something episode slog that is Gundam Wing, then reward yourself for that by watching this. I would not watch this cold.
No.
I think you do need to watch the TV series first.
It at least gives you a good backup of like who these people are, why they're trying to do exactly what they're doing, other than obviously what the movie tells you.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though it does drag on, the series does give you a good background of what these people went through to get to where they are and the personalities they have by the time they get to this movie.
You know, a while back on the very first thing I did on Denzi Blitz on YouTube was Zyuranger. And I did a essential Zyuranger guide where it was, these are the episodes you need to watch for the plot. And if you skip the other episodes, you're fine. It's not going to affect the story. One day, maybe I'll go back and rewatch Gundam Wing and do that with Gundam Wing. I don't know. But then I have to make myself go back and rewatch Gundam Wing, which is the actual problem. So,
it is what it is. So, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, that's Endless Waltz.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, it's a thumbs up.
Yes.
I say go see it. It's worth a watch. So, did you have anything else?
I have a couple of other things.
What you got,
One,
bud?
if you'd like to help us out here at Geek Carolina, for instance, our camera is being held to the tripod right now by a rubber band. We need a new tripod.
By the way, it's actually hilarious.
Yeah, it really kind of is. It's a pink rubber band, too. It's actually one of my wife's hair ties. But that aside. You can help us out by going to one of our two stores now. We're at cafepress.com/geekcarolina, but we're also at redbubble.com/people/geekcarolina. Chris just got to see our new Gundam-inspired t-shirt right before we started recording. It is on there. I think it's called 0080 style on the website.
It is amazing.
It is inspired by the logo from War in the Pocket. So go check that out. It's one of the next shirts on my list. You can also grab the Electric City Sentai Johnny Sacco inspired t-shirt. We call it GR style for Giant Robo. You can grab this. And there are shirts that are exclusive to each store. So don't forget to check both stores because you may find shirts in one that aren't in the other. There are two ongoing contests here on Geek Carolina right now. Contest number 1 is on Denzicaster, and that is to win this, which is Season 1, Volume 1 of Ultraman on DVD. All you have to do is go back to one of our last 2 episodes of Denzicaster where me and Josh are watching Johnny Sacco and his flying robots. That's going to be episodes 19 and 20 or 21 and 22, those 2 episodes. Go back, leave us a comment, tell us what you thought. You find yourself in a drawing to win this. We're going to do the drawing sometime on the second week of June. And also, if you are a fan of Rage Quit Radio and you follow our Empyrean Throne L5R RPG, all the way up until, June 9th / morning of June 10th, if you leave a comment on episode 4, giving our players a buff or trolling them through our hashtag system there, then you get entered in a drawing to win a copy of Smash Up, the shuffle building game from AEG. Fair warning, it's not going to be in a box because it was not donated to us in a box, but it is the entire base game, so you can play that really awesome shuffle building game. Chris has played it.
Oh yeah, it's a fun game.
Yes, it is an outstanding little game. Were you here after I got like almost all the stuff?
Just about.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I remember that.
Where I got the big box now?
Yeah.
Okay, so definitely go and leave our players some buffs or trolls to help them out. And I'm going to let Chris do the wrap-up, but then I got one more thing. Because Chris is never on Denzicaster anymore.
I try. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this show. We still got more to come, including down the road where me and Will, your 2 favorite black men, actually watched a DC film that is actually an anime called Ninja Batman.
Batman Ninja.
Batman Ninja, whatever you want to call it. But you get the idea. Very well done movie. You'll get our thoughts and, prayers for the movie as well. So,
I really actually do want to see that movie, so I'm looking forward to seeing y'all's review of it.
so ladies and gentlemen, I'm Chris.
I'm Mike.
And we'll see you next time for more 8-Star Anime.
Now, if all you wanted to see out of this was our discussion on Gundam Wing Endless Waltz, thank you much. We'll see you later. However,
We're about to make it awkward.
oh, yes, we are. We recently started a tradition, not a tradition, but we will call it a trial by fire and initiation of such on DenziCaster. Back in the day when I ran a Gundam or a anime review website, we had a tradition. Mm-hmm. I told this story on an episode of DenziCaster, but in case you don't watch DenziCaster, I'll tell it again. We had a audition, so to speak.
Okay.
If you wanted to be a reviewer for our website, you had to review the live-action movie Dragon Ball: The Magic Begins.
Oh, God.
Exactly, because it was
Like,
horrible.
oh, God.
That movie is hot garbage. It is the only thing that makes Evolution look good.
Yep.
So, actually, I take that back. There's a Vietnamese, it's either Vietnamese or Korean version of live-action Dragon Ball movie.
I think it's Korean.
Which is supposedly worse than the Magic Begins. I have not watched it, but it's on YouTube, and that might wind up being an 8-star / DenziCaster crossover at some point. Just so we can so we can mercilessly make fun of it.
Yes.
But everyone had to do it. It was the trial by fire. It was you want to write reviews here. You're going to do this one first, and everyone did it, including me. Well, I found these at a dollar store for $1.50 at a Dollar General. These are Nissin Top Ramen Chicken flavored Pringles. Now, just so everyone is aware here, first things first, I was inspired to do this by another YouTube channel called Critical Eats Japan. It's a wonderful channel. They do not need our plug, but if you do go there and check them out as a result of seeing it here, let them know we sent you. But that's what inspired us to do this. Now, if you want to see me and Josh try these, then just go back and watch our last Johnny Sacco episode to see how well that went. Dave from 8-Star Anime has also tried these during the episode of DenziCaster is going to go up this week, which is, if it's not already up, which is us talking about the 1974 movie Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. So, without any further ado.
Oh, God. Like I said, you pulled that out. I was like, oh
now,
my
for
God.
the record, I never make the person trying them do it alone. So I am going to try them with you. But first, here, I'll let you smell the stopper.
Well, that smells like ramen.
Yes, it sure does.
I'll give you
Just
that
so y'all
one.
can see, it pretty much looks like they just dropped a ramen flavor package on a bunch of Pringles. That's pretty much what it looks like. I got news for you, too. It's pretty much what it tastes like. So here you go. Grab yourself one or two.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm not brave enough to try two at a time.
Yep, I am.
Well, you do you, brother. So, over the lips and through the gums, look out stomach. Here it comes. Why did I do it again? So, that was worse than the last time I tried them. Get on camera. Let them see the face.
No. God, this is like the powder I just went. Oh my God.
That is the third time I've done this on this channel.
Folks, literally, I want you to go home, open up a pack of ramen noodles. Just go ahead and throw the noodles away and just, just open the packet, lob it in. Heck no. Those were nasty. Don't get me wrong. I've had several different flavors of chip, regardless of Pringles, Lay's, whatever, that have been disgusting. But usually it's like, meh, I wouldn't buy that again. That's disgusting. That should be disposed of. That should have never been exceeded.
Now, you realize
God.
You realize that by virtue of this, that means out there somewhere there's probably a top ramen beef flavored. Or a shrimp flavor.
Somewhere.
I'm hoping there's not a creamy chicken flavor, because that to me is the worst flavor of ramen known to man.
Yes.
But my apologies if you're out there and you like that. I'm trying to get the cap off the floor because I want to cover this shit up. It does smell. But the
Oh God.
Yeah, folks. Dave actually likes them.
Oh,
Does that surprise you?
not really.
Um,
It's like,
but there you.
you. Let's see. We have you,
Uh-huh.
Josh, me, Dave. Let's see. So yeah. No matter how many more you add, there's always going to be the one.
Yeah.
Always the one that's going to say that's the most amazing thing, and that stuff is the aftertaste.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah, it has layers.
yeah, I got another one. Like
It's
But-
like it's like eating a hot pepper. That damn thing's got a finish to it.
yeah,
So does this. It's just that the finish isn't heat.
no,
The finish it is kind of horrible.
I don't understand it. It's like, I mean, I don't get me wrong. I'm a fan of the flavored chips, stuff like that. Like they've done several between Lay's, Pringles, whatever.
Sure, yeah.
And there's always gonna be a hit and miss. I wouldn't call this a miss. I would call this like, God, what would I call it?
I don't know what they got for making this particular flavor of Pringles. Whoever came up with it, I do not know what he got for it. It should have been 5 to 10 in the state penitentiary.
Yes,
Um,
it's a crime.
Because-
that's what I was getting at. It's not a miss. It's just a crime.
yeah.
Like, and the worst part is chicken flavored, and I'm like, nah, I'm sad. I was like, I'm really sad.
Way to perpetuate a stereotype, Chris.
I've been doing that for how long now?
Well, that's true.
Like,
So, and I was, wow. But anyway, yeah, that's, if you want to see more of this,
ladies and
tune
gentlemen,
into Denzicaster, because that's where we do more of this.
ladies and gentlemen, I will tell you right now. I wouldn't mind doing that for many future things that come out, in our grocery stores in the near future. Because I guarantee you that someone's going to come up with a flavor of Oreo that even we,
Ooh.
even
All
we,
those weird ass flavors of
Yeah.
Oreos.
man, that's what we need to do is go through like one of us just go in, just all right, let's try this one. All right, let's try this one because they got like a million.
Yeah, far more than they need at this point. But folks, I think that about does it. So,
I agree.
it's your
See
show.
I don't know what I'm doing. Just kidding. All right, we'll see you next time on Sorry Anime.